Hello and welcome to the Swine Disease Reporting System. This is the report number 48, the report of February 2022. My name is Edson Magalhães here at Iowa State University.
Hello, my name is Giovanni Trevisan here at Iowa State University.
Hello, Daniel Linhares, also at Iowa State.
And today we're going to cover the findings, the SDRS findings from the previous month, the month of January, the first month of 2022. And just before we get started, a little bit overview of how the report works. So we have 3 pages that covers PCR detection, the first one for PRRS, the second for endemic coronavirus, and the last one for mycoplasma. And the last page is the page related to disease diagnosis from Iowa State VDL. So let's get started. Let's move for the first page of the report. Giovanni, can you give us a little bit of overview of how this page works and what are the major information, how to look at to that data?
Yes, so for PRRS virus, here we do report the detection by PCR for this agent. And we organize this information at a submission level. If you look for one of the charts that we have in this page, it presents the number of submissions that are classified as positive, negative, or suspect according to the PCR results for that specific submission. Doesn't matter if you submit 10 or 100 samples or only one. Each event of submission is counted one, and that helps us to better characterize the trends over time in terms of detection. And as we can see in this page, and if you go for that page, it's going to be on the upper left corner of the page, we have number of cases tested by year and month for PRRS virus with the distinction between positive and negative. One example of highlights from this number of cases is that during December is the month that we have the highest number of cases tested for this agent. And now in 2021, in December, we had basically 7,400 cases that were tested for PRRS virus for this agent, and that was the highest number of submissions tested so far for this agent from this VDLs database.
Mm-hmm. And if you look on the top right chart for the first page, the PRRS detection page, and the one in the middle, the 2 charts in the right side, we can pretty much you break down that information, right, Giovanni? And you're gonna see first the top one in the right. You're gonna see that almost 50% of all the submissions they came from adult sow farm, this age category, and you broke down for the other 2, the unknown and the win to market category. And the bottom chart, the one in the middle, is pretty much the same thing. Like the difference you're gonna see here that the growing finish, the growing pigs, the positive, the percentage of positive cases is always higher for this age category, even though they are less number in terms of number of submissions, right? So you can see these spikes in grow to finish preceding the sow farm. If you look at into the data, always occurring before the increasing percentage of positive cases for adult sow farm. So something interesting to note here in this chart.
And still in that middle column, the one in the left is what Giovanni calls the forecasting plot, that where it shows if you follow the red line over time, it's the the observed number of positivity in the tested positive in the PCR, and the blue band that Giovanni puts together every first month of the year is what's expected in terms of positivity based on what was observed the previous 3 years. And as we can see in this plot here, just starting the year, the red line is within the expected, but also if you look more carefully, you see that those waves are going up, meaning that looking year over year from the previous 3 years, there is a trend of that the positivity rate going up. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to further discuss that because we asked the advisory group some input on that, so I'm going to share what they mentioned.
And another thing to note, if you look back to that middle column again, that's seeing that this increase in positivity in growing finish occurs before in adult sow farm. This is a call for biocontainment, right, Giovanni? This data is showing that this is happening by evaluating the data and using the algorithms. We can see that fact. So it's important to take that into account, and whenever you have that increase, be careful and improve biocontainment, biosecurity in your farms.
Yeah, and those are examples of things that you can use the data for. And the bottom charts that we have on the PERS page is the information that we can extract from PERS or F5 sequencing. And here we do monitor the number of sequence classifieds according to RFLP types. And also, during last year, there was this emergence of the PERS virus lineage 1C variant that was receiving a lot of attention here, and we are now closely monitoring that one, dedicate a chart for present monthly number of PERS or F5 for this sequencing, just to keep that on the radar.
And one other thing is that, to remind, is that, of course, those are PDF reports, right? Those are static reports that we print every month, and then add the input from the advisory. But if people want to check what's going on between the reports, they're online in fieldepi.org/SDRS. There will be the live report, which are updated daily, and with a bit more information here. For example, we report everything at the national level, the whole U.S. level, and in those dashboards, you could filter and get information down to the state level.
Yeah, and one more thing, Daniel, when you talk about the reports that the PDF generate every month, if you're not receiving the report by email, you can sign up for that for free. Just contact us, and we'll be very happy to push out the report through your email inbox every time it's released.
It's free.
It's free, yeah.
So check it out, either if you are listening or watching the YouTube video or on LinkedIn. Check it out our webpage, the fieldapp.org/SDRS, and you're going to find all the information there, and also get in touch with Giovanni, like you said. And Daniel, you mentioned about the advisory group. I wanted to bring that up, so to explain a little bit overview of that. The SDRS advisory group is a group composed by producers and veterinarians from the swine industry, both working in companies and also state veterinarians. And it's a group that we share this information, the SDRS data, with them before sending the final report, and this generates a discussion, and we get their insights and feedback and of what's happening in the field, and if that matches or not with what's occurring in the data, if the data matches or not. And we also have collaborators that support us throughout this process as well, that are personnel from working in the 5 VDLs that are enrolled in the SDRS project. And Giovanni, what were the comments and the major findings that the advisory group mentioned about the data from last month?
Well, as you said, Edson, we have an advisory group that is very active, participates every month in this report and provides a lot of inputs. And please help me here if I forget anything about the comments that they say this month. But the detection of PERS virus that we see some trend for increase in 2022 in comparison with previous years, there are a couple of things that the advisory group highlights as potential contributors for that. And including on those is there is a need for more testing in growth finish height population to better understand what are the agents there circulated. And as an example, there was this emergence of these PERS virus lineage 1C variant strains. But not only that, there are all the regions of the states that there was different strains that were very active, so you need to identify those. You need to do testing to differentiate these wild type strains from vaccine strains to better understand what's happening, not only in finishing sites, but in breeding herds also. There is a lot of things that are pointed out as contributors for this change. Please help me if I forgot anything here.
I think they also talked about that increasing positivity over time may also be associated with improved diagnostic sensitivity, at least herd sensitivity of the diagnostic tests that methods used today, including, for example, processing fluids, family oral fluids, people pooling, so sampling more and then submitting an increased number of animals right in their submission, so that all those things together help to justify a little bit the increased positivity in the observed here for PERS virus. There has been, can make the case that the increased consolidation in the market with more kind of interconnected usage of contract carriers for transport, feed mills, truck wash, finishing site labor, that kind of stuff also contributes to to more viruses being around, and people wanting to test, right? So monitoring these things.
And they also mentioned about this year, the winter months of 2022, we are following a year with increased activity during the spring, right? A little bit different from what occurred on the previous years. If you go back and going to relate also to that second wave that we have on the 144.
How about what you expect for this year, Giovanni? What are they saying? I just said that the red line is within the blue band, right? And so going forward for 2022, what do we expect in terms of PRRS activity?
Doing prediction is a difficult one, but from our advisory group, they are expecting that we keep having this trend of PRRS virus detection. And all of these reasons that were pointed here as contributed for the momentum of the detection of PRRS virus are also pointed to be on the radar for next year. One thing that may be different is that several farms that went through PRRS breaks with some aggressive strains, they did depopulate, and that may bring new animals to the farms that are naive for PRRS virus and you are now controlling, so that may help. And also there is startups that comes out, and there is a big motivation for that. That is the proposition to also put naive pigs in these herds and have less pressure of infection at a regional level, because you are now sending out piglets that are negative for this agent. So we may see some changes in terms of detection. Hopefully that goes down, but it's a trend that is continuing for a couple of years, so it's going to be good to keep monitoring that and see where we go during 2022.
Okay, so now let's move on to the page number 3. So the next page covers the PCR detection for endemic coronavirus. So pretty much the charts, the way they are illustrated here, it's the same thing that we discussed previously for PRRS, so we're not going to go into details. But this page covers PCR detection more specifically for PED and Delta coronavirus. Giovanni, what were the findings from the previous month here?
Well, first of all, the page of the endemic coronavirus is quite interesting this month. We start the year with low levels of detection for PED and Delta coronavirus, TG, but as we move through January, the things start to really change. For example, if you look for PED, during December of 2021, we had an average of 72 submissions that were positive for PED per week. And that was throughout the month, was 75, 71. But now, at the last week of January, we had 120 submissions that were positive. So there is a lot of activity in PED started going on there.
Giovanni, and when you show that data, share that data with the advisory group, what were the highlights that you received from them?
The advisory group has said that, well, if nothing really unexpected occurs with PED and that coronavirus of entering a production system specific and spread through the chain, we should see some similar levels of detection during 2022, but they really reminded us that we need to keep looking for biosecurity, biocontainment measures, and whenever a case or some positivity start occurring in some region, if that's possible, talk with your neighbors and develop a plan in association to early contain the spread of these agents. That's going to be helpful for all of involved parties.
Also in that page, the same thing that we talked about, the need for biocontainment, call for biocontainment in grow finish, can be observed here for PRRS, right? Can be observed here, as it's evident here that the positivity rate is higher in grow finish animals than that of sow farms, right? And the other thing that I thought it was interesting was that over time, in general, the trend is that it's lowering the positivity rate for PED. Even though that at this specific moment it's going up, in general, the big long-term trend has been to decrease that. And a couple members of the advisory reminded us that decrease in prevalence, decrease in positivity may be associated with decrease in prevalence in the whole swine herd. But also as a reminder that now we have more population at risk, so it wouldn't be surprising if we see a spike at any point in time. So another call for biosecurity to keep that positivity low.
Great point, Daniel.
Let's move on to the next page, which is the page that covers PCR detection for Mycoplasma. Giovanni, what were the findings from the previous month here?
Well, Mycoplasma harmony, we start to see some decrease in detection of adult sow farms and in growing finish, and that's following what we expected for this time of the year, where the detection of Mycoplasma tends to go down until the spring months, and in fall is the time of the year that we start to see more activity, and this is expected by this period of the year. And if we look forward to the future, there is a couple of production systems that start to go towards Mycoplasma elimination, so that has some uncertainty in how that's going to occur. In terms of monitoring diagnosis, we maybe start to see more cases coming in and being tested, but that's a effect of the need for more surveillance and monitoring programs in these scenarios.
I was excited to hear back from the advisory. We saw that, and we've been hearing about that, but good that we are in the U.S., as I understand, in a good momentum towards control and elimination of Mycoplasma, right? Not only control, but also see large systems going towards that elimination route. So be great to see what how that impacts the health under field conditions of those animals being benefited.
Going towards and being successful, right?
Correct, and that's a good point, because there is a couple of systems that are going through this elimination of Mycoplasma, but there is some system that is not the priority right now. And one call that the advisory group mentioned is we still need to better understand what you classify a lateral break and how that happens in the finishing sites to better control Mycoplasma harmony.
Okay, so let's move on to the next page, which is the final page of the report. This page covers disease diagnosis, specifically here from Iowa State VDL. Giovanni, first, before you give an overview of the results from the previous months, can you give us a little bit of the background of this page?
Yeah, so this page presents only disease diagnosis on confirmed tissue cases here at the ISU VDL. And that's a system that is in place where the diagnosticians from ICU assign what we call a DX code. And that's a code for the disease that was associated with that case. And from that code, we are able to create the charts that are here presented. So we present an overall diagnosis by etiologic agent, but also we break that up with some charts that present the number of cases according to a specific agent by system. And that case is a bunch of lines that cross-section each other, and if you follow the lines, you can see where there is association of more than one etiologic agents that is diagnosed. And you can see for respiratory specifically that gets messy, so you need to think that we are not always talking about one single agent, but most of the time the disease that we see in the field are multifactorial, and we need to take that in consideration to better implement measures to control these outbreak events. And I really thank for the diagnostician from ISU for doing all of the work of assigning this DX code that helps us to provide this page for the SDRS audience and VDL client. So, and when you look for those diagnoses, we do monitor in the background this information. And as an example, we could see on the week of January 17th that was an increasing number of urogenital diagnoses. And now that we, during December and January, there was a couple of more cases for actinobacillus pneumonia, clostridiosis, and PD that was also picking up in this page.
Giovanni, this picking up, you mean you have some algorithms analyzing this data and identifying some significant change?
That's correct. This runs on the background of this information, so we are able to scan weekly counts of these diagnoses, and every time that is above what we expected, considering the past few weeks, we say that there is a signal, and that's what we do report here in this page.
And that comes into in consensus with what we are seeing in the industry. For example, there's an increase of people talking about APP. We recently had the webinar from ASV focus on this topic. So good to have these algorithms monitoring this information, right?
Right. And the APP is a hot topic in the moment, so by the time that you are going to receive this, the seminar from today, February 1st, is gone from Chica and ASV, but if you want to follow more on this, you can look for the ASV library that they put the recordings there and try to, I'm curious to see else what these people are going to talk more about this Actinobacillus pneumoniae case that seems to be regional and spreading within that area.
What else do we know, Giovanni? I know that there are some outbreak investigations going on as we speak. What else do we know from those APP cases at this moment?
Well, what we heard from the advisory group and the VDL collaborators is that there is a regional issue, and those are involving the serotype 15 that was not known to be causing diseases, and now seems to be the one that's associated with most of these outbreaks. Looks like there is a mix with some cases that are only associated with the Actinobacillus pneumoniae disease, and some that there is other agents associated like PRRS on the same barn. So this what you mentioned about having this outbreak investigation and this better characterization of this case by the diagnosticians, that's going to be very helpful for us to better understand this scenario.
Oh, great. Thanks for the information, guys. Giovanni, also in this report, we have the bonus page. What was the information that you brought this month for this report?
Well, the bonus page, this specifically month is a bonus page that's brought by the SDRS, where we try to summarize the frequency of PRRS virus strain detection during 2021. And that's really to demonstrate and show that the lineage 1C variant was a hot topic in Iowa, Minnesota, but other strains like lineage 1A and FLP 174 was very active in the regions. So the bonus page, it's here to provide information about relevant topics that is of interest for the swine productions and veterinarians, and all industry partners and VDL collaborators are invited to submit materials to be published in this part of the report.
Really highlights that what if somebody asks what are the lineages that are more frequently detected, most prevalent? The answer, well, it depends on where you're located, right? Because if you look at your table here, it's pretty clear that different regions have different lineages that are predominant, that are more predominant.
Right, and in a continental country as the US, you can see that that's really different across the states and across regions.
Mm-hmm.
Great. No, great discussion, guys, and that was it for this month's report. I hope the audience have enjoyed. So keep in mind, if you want to have more information about the SDRS, visit our webpage where you can find all this information, all the reports, all the videos and podcasts. And also, as Daniel mentioned before, you can find the online dashboards where you can play and look into the data with more details. So that was it, and thanks for joining with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.